fui ler enciclopédias de jazz. Era uma gíria. Os negros em New Orleans. Muito bom isso, muito ótimo. Eu devia fazer esse final de 7
You're in tune with WKCR FM New York, WKCR HD1 Radio, 89.9 on the dial in New York City, and you are listening to Som do Brasil. I'm Jassvan de Lima, and we open up with the great Villa-Lobos music, one of the greatest composer of classical Brazilian music. And we have our guest with us, Sonia Rubinsky, and she's going to appear live this Sunday, March the 31st, 2019, 7:30 p.m. at the Symphony Space. This is a production by the Brazilian Music Foundation. And let's welcome our guest, Sonia Rubinsky, to WKCR FM New York, o Som do Brasil.
Good evening. I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having us.
Oh, such a pleasure to have Sonia here. So, Sonia, tell us a little bit where you come from, and to do this intro, you from in Brazil, where?
I am from the city of Campinas in the state of São Paulo. And I was born there, and I lived a little bit everywhere, following my interests and my talents and my passion for music and for piano, and which took me to Israel at first, the United States, where I lived for a long time, actually New York, not far from WKCR, and now I've been living in Paris for the last 16, 17 years, and I recorded the complete works of Villa-Lobos for piano. It's more than 200 works. I received a Latin Grammy for this work, especially the 8th CD of the series. It's 8 CDs that I recorded for Naxos. It was a major amount of work and research that took me about 13, 14 years to complete. There is the Great Museu Villa-Lobos in Rio de Janeiro, a marvelous place. 200 Rua Sorocaba, for whoever is in Rio. Beautiful place, and has amazing materials and manuscripts, first editions, and I spent a lot of time there doing research. And I'm very happy to be able to present that. This year marks the 60th anniversary of the death of Villa-Lobos. So we are at a crossroads again. Villa-Lobos used to come to the States a lot, even in the state of New York. Actually, in the city of New York, the 5th of March is Villa-Lobos Day, believe it or not. And so while he was alive at that time, he was very celebrated composer in the States as well, in Europe also. And so his music is so varied and so full of life and passion. I think it's very interesting to bring different facets of his music in one and the same program. I'm playing an all Villa-Lobos program. I'm very happy to be able to do that, and I'm honored that the Brazilian Music Foundation in their classical music series invited me to do this, and it's a great opportunity to discover his music, so come and listen to it.
And please, my classical audience, so open to learn about Villa-Lobos more. Of course, Villa-Lobos, one of the greatest Brazilian classical composer, but a lot of his pieces, his research come from folklore music and Brazilians Northeast, for example.
That is true. Villa-Lobos has a famous saying. He said, "I am folklore." He actually said that, and he did believe that he was representing Brazil in its in its essence through the sounds that he composed. Not only in its essence in terms of emotions, but also in a descriptive way. The forests, the birds, the nature, its sociological makeup, Brazil's sociological makeup. And so he did that in a very conscious way, I think. So that's why there is such variety of his music. Yes, he used folklore, not only folklore, Amerindian folklore, urban folklore, children's round songs. There is the famous collection called Guia Prático, Practical Guide, and in those, there are these songs, Nesta Rua, Ciranda, Cirandinhas. I think every Brazilian knows those things. And we sang that. I sang that as a child. I don't know the children now, but I did.
They have to hear now.
Yeah, and so he uses that in many. Not only interesting, he uses children's round songs not in pieces that are for children, which is very interesting. He builds these amazing pieces, very difficult to play, full of life, and then all of a sudden there is the citation of a children's round songs, but the music is not for children. Yeah.
So I remember reading when Jobim met Villa-Lobos, because Jobim wants to be Villa-Lobos. He used to say that. Yeah.
Yes.
He
was very influenced by Villa-Lobos.
Because you read all the books. Schubert was one of the influence of Jobim, but I think Jobim has a lot of Villa-Lobos, like you said.
It has a lot of Villa-Lobos. Even in terms of his image, he wanted to emulate Villa-Lobos. He used the cigar, he used the hat. So it was very conscious of his part, not to take away his genius and his talent in any way. But one has to understand also that Villa-Lobos was a person that he knew very well how to build his persona. He knew that when he arrived in Paris in the 20s, and so he kind of invented or created the idea in the psyche of the French that he is this exotic person coming from, I don't know, forest, Indians. So he brought the Hans Staden book to France and wanted to make the parallel, like he was one of the people who were going to get eaten by the cannibals, which was not the case at all. But so he was, as in French we say mythomane, as he created his own mythology, and he was a great character, a bigger than life character.
In talking about Brazilian classical music, of course, you're going to appear doing a tribute to Villa-Lobos. But more of... what about Carlos Gomes? Talk a little bit. What's the difference between the famous Brazilians classical music?
I'm very happy you bring Carlos Gomes up. He is from my hometown, Campinas. He was a celebrity in his time. Actually, Verdi said that he loved Carlos Gomes' music. He was a celebrity in his time in Italy, of all places. He wrote Italian operas, but he also wrote in Portuguese, and he was a major composer. And too bad that Italian opera of that kind is not so much in fashion nowadays. But his operas are beautiful, very well written, amazing orchestration. There's quite a lot of innovation. It is true, it's a little bit weird to hear an Indian singing in Italian. That is a problem we have. But that's not the only opera where that happens. It is a composer that needs to be unearthed again, definitely. So I'm happy you bring that up.
I have in my hands Villa Lobos. This is Sonia Rubinsky's piano. This record was released in 2007. Should we play? We're going to turn you people on and hear music now. And this CD from Naxos Records, right?
Naxos, yes.
Naxos.
Yeah. And I would like to start, the musical examples with the New York Skyline Melody, which I'm starting my recital with that. And it's a very interesting piece from 1939, whereby the Life magazine published a picture of the skyline of New York, and he took the musical lines and found out that way of the skyscrapers the notes of the melody. So the melody comes from the photograph. The harmony is his. It's a very interesting example that it's a type. An attempt to compose music that he shared with Varese, a great composer of the time, Edgar Varese. So here it is. We are hearing track 2. This is the 6th volume of the series, and it's called New York Skyline Melody. It's beautiful.